All right. You've waited a long time. Let's dive into it. I'm so excited that, this bonus unit of AI for marketing and sales creates social content that converts using AI with our special guest, Cristy Stewart-Harfmann, to kick this off for you today. This is our agenda. It doesn't look like we've got a lot on here, but we've got a lot on here. So we're going to kind of power through this, through the introduction so we can really dive into the meat and potatoes of the presentation. So I'd love to say welcome to all of you who are joining us for this bonus unit for AI marketing and sales. This is just something that stacks on top of, 7 core units that we have that establish everything from what in the heck is AI, why are we using it, why should we care about it, all the way to some of the marketing strategy that you can implement immediately upon taking this recorded course, AI for marketing and sales. And, we talked to some pretty colorful characters with this who are deep into the throes of what it means to use AI and why it's important to do it. This course is catered toward the business leader and the marketing doer. A lot of you are small business owners wondering how in the heck AI can, be used to redefine your strategies within marketing. And some of you are actually hands-on in marketing. You're like, how in the world can I use AI to create amazing video and stunning pictures? This course answers those questions for you. And that's, a pretty good segue to welcome to the stage our guest for today, recently featured in Forbes magazine on how to use TikTok in the digital age here as a business owner. Cristy Stewart-Harfmann, welcome.
Thank you, Jordan, for having me. I'm so excited. I'm nervous too. I don't know why, but I mean, I know why, because I want you guys to get like the most value out of this. So I am Cristy Stewart-Harfmann, as Jordan said. I've been in this digital marketing space for over 15 years. I founded a lifestyle blog about a decade ago, which is really, I used to always say like, I'm a blogger, but really when you're a blogger, you are the owner of a marketing company. And I have been fortunate to work with hundreds of brands through that platform. My favorites, Target, Dunkin' Donuts. I don't know. In the comments, I want you guys to tell me, are you a Starbucks lover or are you a Dunkin' lover? Because I feel like you're one or the other. I have an 11-year-old. She's a Starbucks girl. I'm a Dunkin' girl through and through. So, but Heinz ketchup. I started my career with some really high-end clients. I'm seeing some Dunkins. I'm glad I see my Dunkin' fans in there. Let's go Dunkin', right?
Like
We're
Florida's
Dutch
a little bit of a
Bros.
Dunkin' stronghold. I don't know.
Well, unless the tweens, I don't know. Oh, I've seen some Starbucks. I don't know, guys. This is going south quickly. But I started my career in the digital space doing social media for brands like the Boca Raton Resort and Club, in Boca Raton, the Breakers. Really, when it sounds so embarrassing, when the internet started, but really when Facebook started, I pitched it to my agency because we weren't doing it. This is just a reminder to all of you. I know I have some of my students on here, a big fake it till you make it kind of piece, and the digital space and AI helps us to fake it even better than ever. And so I'm going to show you guys exactly how to do that. But I have an MBA in international business from FAU, which is Florida Atlantic University, for any of you that are not local to South Florida. I'm also the fractional chief marketing officer for BizHack Academy and an adjunct instructor at Florida Atlantic University. Hopefully, I see a bunch of my students in here, which makes me so happy. So I just want to remind you, any small businesses who are looking for interns, if you have a link, drop it in there because our FAU students are the best. And my whole goal is to help them connect with businesses so that they can have real life experience. So if you are looking for an intern for the next summer, please drop it in there. And as Jordan mentioned, I just featured in Forbes last week, which was one of my 2024 goals. And I'm over the moon about it, right? I feel like Jordan knows as
Amazing.
my PR guy, right? I'm like, this
Yeah,
is
like you
incredible.
get into
Like,
Forbes, like half the battle is getting into Forbes, but that's where you want to be, especially if you want to be a thought leader. Just my PR 2 cents here, but
yeah, thank you. So I am so excited for you guys to be here. I want to challenge each and every one of you, though. I have probably sat in on 100 plus webinars in master classes. And at the end, I'm always like, this is great information. And then I never do anything with it. And I want you to learn from my mistakes. And I want every single person on this call to commit to putting into action, one, of the things that I'm going to share with you today. For my students, I want you to test it on our client that we're going to talk about this semester. If you are a business owner, commit to trying one. I'm telling you, when you start in AI, it feels so overwhelming at first, but all you need is just a little taste to realize it is life changing. As Jordan said, can you imagine getting 6 to 8 hours of your day back? Like, I can't even tell you how much it totally transforms your business. So for us today, we're talking all about how to create social media content that converts using AI. We're going to walk through 3 different things. We are going to talk about how you can streamline your content creation with content themes created by AI. So if you know what a content theme is, say yes. If you don't, I want to see no, because a lot of people don't even know what a content theme is. And I want us to start at the very, very beginning of the content planning process. Then I'm going to walk you through how to unlock prompting tips and tricks to craft a good prompt for creating content using AI. And I love that so many of you don't know what they are. That's fabulous. We're going to talk about it today. After today, you're going to know what they are. You're going to know how to create them. And then I'm going to walk you through some of my favorite tools to create content with AI. And there are so many out there, but these are just a few that I use for my own personal business and for BizHack that we have found work really, really well. They are free or low cost, and I'm going to really encourage you to try them out and to use them. I'm going to walk you through at the end of the presentation. We're actually going to, hopefully we'll have time, dive in so you guys can see the platforms themselves. And my recommendation is most of these platforms you cannot break. So you get in, you tinker around. If you can't figure something out, a lot of them have videos in platform that will tell you about it, or you can always go to YouTube. So we're going to start with the power of AI for content creation. And really, I start at the very, very beginning, right? What is AI, right? Artificial intelligence, otherwise known as AI, refers to the simulation of human intelligence in machines that are designed to think and act like humans. So basically, we are going out to a computer and saying, help me. And there's a big conversation about what that looks like. And I know Dan, the founder of BizHack, always says it's AI and me together, right? And this is what we're going to talk about today. So I want to talk about the key benefits of using AI for your content strategy. 1, it's going to help you define your strategy. 2, it's going to help you transform your content. And then 3, and my students know that I say this every day, it feels like, if you are not using data to change what you are doing in your planning, then you are missing the entire point of doing digital marketing. And so we're going to use that data to help us make decisions in the future and use those breadcrumbs to change things up. This is going to lead to improved efficiency, more effective, and again, those data-driven strategies so that we can actually use the information that we are getting as feedback from people.
And no, by the way, like, AI makes it so much easier to uncover those data points that maybe you're not thinking about. So before you can get there, though, Cristy, it all starts with your strategy, right?
It does. So I've worked with countless brands, and what happens is we don't know where to start, right? And so this is what I want to talk to you guys about first, because a content theme is basically an overarching topic or a category that helps you align with your brand's values, your brand's mission, and what your audience is interested in. These are going to serve as the foundation for your content strategy. They're going to make sure that you are consistent, that you have coherence across all of your marketing efforts. And I start with this because the thing I always hear from business owners is, I don't even know where to start. Right? Like, I know, right? And it's so true because we're so overwhelmed by the things. When you're a business owner, you have 4,000 things that you need to do. And now, thanks to all of these social platforms, you also have to become a content creator. And this is the perfect place for you to start. To the next. Thank you. So the reason why these content themes matter are 4 reasons: consistency, engagement, efficiency, and then measurable results. Consistency is everything. And you're going to see this. My husband and I analyze so many different creators across platforms. And what we find is, even if you don't have the best content, if you are consistent, you will win. And I want you guys to hear that again. If you are consistent, even with subpar content, you are going to win. What
Mhm.
happens is we need these content themes to be in place so that we can easily be consistent. It's going to ensure that we have a unified brand voice and a message across all of our platforms. And it helps us stay consistent. So we have a steady stream of relevant content that aligns with our brand image. Consistency is everything. How many of you are struggling to stay consistent with creating content? Will you say yes or no in the chat for us?
And I'd also
We can
love to
go.
open up the Q&A window
Yeah,
too. I've got a few questions stacking up already, but we will get to those at the end of the presentation. So some of these questions might be answered in the meantime, but that's totally okay. We're going to set aside some time to get to the rest of those questions as well.
perfect. I love so many of you are saying, right? This is the challenge. And I think that I'm so grateful for AI because I'm going to show you guys exactly how it's going to help you with this problem. The next is engagement. When I say engagement, I'm talking about likes, comments, shares, saves. This is how the platforms know that the content that you have created is good, and they show it to a small amount of your followers and to non-followers. When people are engaging with it, they're going to push it out to more and more people. And so what we're trying to do here is to attract and retain our audience interest by consistently addressing the topics that they actually care about. And this is going to enhance our customers, our audiences, loyalty and their trust because they know what to expect from us. And engagement is more important than almost anything at the beginning of this process. If you are posting things and nobody is engaging with it, the content's not going to go anywhere. And so we need our audience to know what to expect from us so that they will follow us. When someone sees a good post initially, they're going to go back and look to see what other posts you've posted about. If one day you're posting about your coffee and the next day your business, they don't know what to expect from you and they're not going to follow you and then get you to have engagement.
And just from
And
like a
then
super high level, like you talk about, you see articles, you're like, hack the algorithm, right? But there's nobody knows how to hack the algorithms. Your constant, consistent engagement where you have a good cadence and people understand what they're going to get from you is the best way to do that. Regardless of any article that says, well, if you post on a Monday at 12:30 in the afternoon and you make sure you've got so many characters in your post, like it doesn't work like that.
yeah, you got to be standing upside down in your hat 100%.
Yeah.
And that's where like the algorithm is telling us what people like, and we don't have time to go into it today, but you're welcome to reach out to me separately. What we need to be doing is figuring out what our audience wants to hear from us and then doubling down on that. But this is having a content theme is really going to help us be really efficient. We need to streamline this content creation process by having really clear guidelines and focus areas. And then we're going to reduce our content planning time and really prevent topic duplication. Again, my entire business, starting about 3 years ago, I was solely doing content creation. But because of AI, I have been able to take on additional responsibilities because I have extra time on my hands thanks to AI. Was able to take on a role as an adjunct instructor at FAU, the fractional CMO at BizHack. This is all because I am actually using AI in my business every day and making it so much more efficient.
Doesn't hurt the bottom line either, does it, Cristy?
No, you're supposed to have 7 streams of income, right? For anybody who is starting out as a business owner, any of my students, right? 7 streams of income is the goal and not possible because you can't duplicate yourself without AI, I feel like. And then the last is these measurable results, right? We want to be looking for the tracking and analysis of our content performance within each theme. We're going to talk about in a moment what those themes look like. You're going to start to see what your audience wants to hear. And we're going to identify those themes that are really resonating with our audience. And that's going to guide us with what our future strategies look like. So I want you to think everything in your marketing plan is written in pencil, like probably really typed out, right? But it should be available to be totally transformed because our audience is going to tell us what they want. But the first thing we have to do is start posting so that we can have the audience tell us what they want.
Hard to get that data if you don't have data points to go off of. I mean, you flagged earlier, Cristy, how important it is to make those data-driven decisions. And, your consistent posting with your consistent themes, I think is a great way to get started.
Everyone's like, how do you start? I'm like, you post. That's how you start, right? But let's talk about, I think, one of the most important things when you are first starting out in AI, and it is called prompt engineering. And if you have heard of prompt engineering before, I want you to tell me yes or no in the chat here. So prompt engineering involves the specific inputs, we call them prompts, which is the words that I'm going to type in to the AI. And I see it's a mixed bag here. We've got some yeses and nos here. And that is going to help guide these AI models, such as the GPT-4s, to tell us what we want them to provide to us.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit of an art and a little bit of a science, right? I say I live in the gray. If you are a black and white person, some of this is going to be difficult for you, but it's going to help you design effective and precise queries, otherwise known as just the words you're typing in to make the request, or instructions that are going to allow AI to produce really accurate, relevant, and contextually appropriate responses. And I'm going to show you an example in just a moment of why this process is so important. We go to the next slide, Jordan. So there's really 4 key elements when we talk about prompt engineering. The first is going to be clarity. We need to clearly define the task or the question so that we do not give ambiguous responses. For any of you who have ever used like a chat GPT before, you'll see the response, regardless of how good you are at prompting, the responses on the surface sound decent. But when you start to dive in, you're like, oh, that's actually not exactly what I wanted it to say. We have to speak so clearly about exactly what we want. This AI wants to provide us the best information possible, but it can only do that if we are crystal clear on what we want them to be responding. And I say them like it's a person. I like to think of it as like my personal assistants. You'll hear me say AI as them. Next, we want to give them the context. And I think that this is where 90% of the business owners that I speak to fail. We need to be able to give AI enough background information to help us understand the context. And in a moment, I'm going to share exactly how you're able to do that. But think about it. If you're asking somebody to help you, if they don't know who you are going to get such a generic answer that is not going to speak to your audience. I don't know if any of you have heard the phrase, if I'm speaking to everyone, I am speaking to no one. And this is what happens if we don't give enough context about who we are, who our business is, who our audience is, we're going to get a generic response that is going to speak to everyone and in turn is not going to be speaking to our ideal customer. And then we want to be really specific. We've got to use really precise language because these are language models and we want to elicit specific details or actions from them. And then the last, and I think the most important, is iteration. We want to continuously refine the prompts based on the outputs that AI are providing so that we can improve the accuracy and relevance. And this is so easy, but so often I think people are like, I got this response, it was terrible, I'm never using AI again, right? How many of you have been there where you're like, I tried, it was terrible, and out. But what we need to do is, my favorite thing to say to it is, try again, sound more human, right? And you would be shocked because for me, from a marketing perspective, you can oftentimes see who has used ChatGPT to write their captions, their blog posts, right? Because it's very robotic. My husband and I like make a joke. It's like we do a lot of travel posting, and so we'll talk about a coffee shop, and it's like the most beautiful fancy, and like you can tell it's language that like you and I wouldn't use, but tell the AI system that you're using what you want it to do. Sound less like flowery, sound more like a human, so that it can actually give you a better response. And the more you're training it, because you're giving it that feedback, the better results it's going to produce for you in the future.
And somebody who uses AI a lot might be like, well, that's lazy. These people are lazy. It's like, well, you're not lazy. You just don't know what you don't know. And that's why Cristy's here to kind of, show us what are really good use cases and what are not so good use cases.
100%. So I want to show you guys an example of a bad prompt. If we are trying to find content themes, your first iteration may be just write to content themes for BizHack. And on the next slide, it's going to show us. If you're just reading this, you may think, this not a bad result, right? They're talking about one of the content themes should be marketing strategy and insights. And then it gives me some content ideas, developing a comprehensive marketing strategy, sharing the latest digital marketing trends and insights, case studies about successful marketing campaigns, practical tips for small business marketing, and so on and so forth. But what you find, if you really start to dive into it, this is not what BizHack does, right? So it took the information that it could find within the system and said, this is who I think that BizHack is. This is the content I think, but it doesn't have all the right information. And that is on us. And I'm going to show you 3 different ways, technically 4, I kind of put 2 together, that you can give the AI all of the background information that you need so that you can get the best results possible. So we can go to the next slide, Jordan.
Yeah, take a picture of the slide, by the way. This is something you want to tuck in your back pocket.
So I want you guys to tell us how many of you have ever set the stage before you ask a ChatGPT, a Gemini, any of the AI platforms to give you a result. And what I mean by set the stage is we want to provide this background information. I'm seeing a little bit of a mix, which I like. We want to give as much company background so that AI can give us the best result. And I love, Jonathan, one of my grad students, the more information, the better, 100%, right? So one, we could, if we have never used a GPT, I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted by all of your answers. I'm going to focus on the presentation. One, we can prompt AI to literally say, what questions do you need to ask me so that you can have background about my company? We can feed it the information so that we'll share in a moment. I'll show you exactly what information I feed it when I'm starting with a new client. Or what I really recommend for each and every one of you is a customized GPT model or some sort of AI tool. And what this allows you to do is to train it once, and then it has all the background information so that every time you're coming in and asking a prompt, you're going to get the best response possible because it's going to have all of that background information about your company. And with those, you can share them with other people in your company so that everyone is using the same starting point for the prompting. So if you want to prompt AI to ask you the background questions, it's so easy, right? So literally you say, in a moment, I'm going to ask for your help. Before I do, you are a social media expert. I like to tell them who they are, right? Because think, again, the they, as it comes out of my mouth, it feels so awkward, but like, this is a learning model that knows about every single topic. So I like to make sure that I'm saying, this is the type of information I want you to pull from, a social media expert. Act as a consultant and identify 5 content themes for X. We're going to add in our company name here. Include the theme, the description, and the goal, super clear on what I want AI to provide for me. Before we begin, ask me questions about my business that you need to make strategic marketing recommendations. And what the bot is going to do is literally send you 10 to 15 to 20 questions, depending on the day, depending on the new learning it has had recently. You may not know the answer to every one of those questions, and that's okay. You can just say 1 is this, 2 is this, skip 3 and 4, and you're just going to do 5 as the next. If you don't know the answers, you can actually prompt AI to help you figure out the answers. And in a moment, I'll show you guys how to do that. But again, if you are working for an agency and you have lots of different clients, or you are one of my students and you're just trying to figure out how do we help this client today, this is a great way to get started so that you can see how setting the stage is going to provide you much better results than not setting the stage.
You may have heard the term, chain of thought kicking around. That's exactly what we're going through here. The conversation that you're having with your chatbot so that it really has a, more in-depth understanding of what it is that you're trying to accomplish with that specific chat.
Mm-hmm. So the other way to do it is to feed AI all the background information that you need. And it's funny, when Jordan and I first went over this presentation, he was like, wow, a lot of information. But I think that the more information we give it, the better the responses are going to be, right? So this is actually on 2 slides. It is a ton of information, and it is very possible that you do not know all of these answers about your company, but that's okay. Again, we're going to talk about how you can use AI in a moment to fill in these answers. But basically what I do is I say the same thing, right? In a moment, I'm going to ask you some questions before we start. I want to give you some background information about my company. And I start, and so if I'm working with a client, I ask them all of these questions. And if they don't know the answers, we can work together on that. Or if you are doing it for your own business, you should know the answers to these questions. And if you don't, that is totally fine, right? We are all learning. If you are not still learning in your business, you're not growing. And if you're not growing, your business is going to be dead. I mean, I hate to be like the Debbie Downer here, but you need to be constantly growing and learning new things. Otherwise, once we think that we know everything, we're dead in the water. So we want to say, my elevator pitch is, and then share what your elevator pitch is. My ideal, this is one of the most important ones. My ideal target customer is, and then enter in those target personas. So who are the people that you want this AI to be thinking about targeting when it is giving you the responses? Their unique selling proposition, enter that in. What is special about your company of why people are going to buy from you opposed to buying from someone else? The company why. So why do you do what you do? What is your overall mission? I see someone, what is USP? That is your unique selling proposition. That is why someone is buying from you opposed to your customer. What makes you special? What is the reason why they're going to pick you opposed to someone else? If you have a 10-year mission, share that mission. What your company's goal is. Like at BizHack, we say we want to train 1 million businesses how to use AI so they can grow faster and smarter, right? Share that goal. What do you want your audience to feel when they're reading your content? I want them to feel, this way. I want them to be inspired, engaged, want to take, action. Tell them how you want them to feel. And then I want my content to be inspirational, educational, right? In this world, we generally want it to be informational or educational. Edutainment is what they call it, which is a combination of educational and entertaining, or we want it to be funny. People's attention is super short, and so we need to make sure we're providing value to them. And like I said, it's on 2 slides. I'm sorry, guys. There's so much good background information, though, to give. We want to enter the tone of voice of our business. We want to share, if the content could accomplish one thing, what would it be? So are you, to Jordan's point, talking about the funnel? Are you trying to build the top of the funnel, which is brand awareness? So are you trying to introduce people to your product? Are you trying to push them down so that they are ready to purchase? What part of that process are you trying to do? And then again, your ideal customer, tell them more about that ideal customer. What are their pain points? Most of our businesses that are successful are solving some sort of issue that people have. And so we want to talk about that one. And then finally, our customers often ask. If you have common questions that people always ask, share that so that you're able to get better answers back. And somebody just put in a fabulous question. Isn't this all public once it's all in there? And yes, it is. And that is why in a moment, we're going to talk about a different way to do this. Most of the time, though, sharing who your ideal customer is and your mission and your vision is not going to have your competitor be able to steal who you are, because most of us realize that the success of businesses has nothing to do with the plan and everything to do with the execution. But there are ways, and we'll talk about that in a moment, to protect that if you do not want to be sharing. You should not be putting company secrets in here, but who your ideal customer is, to me, is not a company secret. Again, if you do not know the background, I want you to use this prompt. You are a marketing expert. Act as a consultant and share 5 tones of voices that are successful with your niche. You are going to get back a list of different voices, and you can pick which one you most identify with for your brand. And you could do that with any of the questions that I said that you should put in. So the next way is customized GPT models or different AI tools. And what I love about a customized GPT model, and this could be in ChatGPT, You can create multiple versions. So if you have multiple companies that you're working with because you work for an agency, if you're a student and you've got multiple projects you're working on, you can create multiple ones that are all fed different information for that one. You can upload this knowledge source file, and then you can share this GPT with other people in your company so that you guys are all using the same sort of baseline for the responses that you'll get. Or you can use an AI tool. And in a moment, I'll show you one of the AI tools that I like.
So with prompting, I mean, you've really kind of gone through a laundry list of here's the information that you need ChatGPT to know about your small business, but you still have to turn that into a good prompt. And it's a little bit of an art, right, Cristy? Like, it's more than just the bad prompt example. Here's one, plain statement that I want you to try to answer for me and create some content.
100%. And I think it's so funny. As I was looking at these slides again last night, I was like, I oftentimes don't do what I say that people should do. I have gotten some great results with prompts that are not this perfect, but I wanted to give you guys the best case scenario of what you should do from a prompt and tell you it's okay if you're just going to pick a couple of these to use. But again, that first and the one I think you should never skip is the background information, the setting the stage so that AI understands who you are, who your customers are, so that you get a response that is tailored to you. And then I always, no matter what my prompt is, I always tell AI who they are. Oftentimes it's a marketing expert. Sometimes it's an SEO expert, which is search engine optimization. Sometimes it's a social media expert. I want it to say, this is the information that I need to pull in because this is who I am. And I want it to act like a consultant because it should be your consultant. It's going to share with you the best practices, what they recommend. And then we need to give it very, very clear objectives. What do you want AI to provide back to you? And give it specific instructions. Sometimes I say, put it in a table. I want the table to have this, this, this. It can format all of that for you. I used to take everything and then put it into a table. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I could literally, and this is where the experimenting gets so fun. You can literally say, I need a table that has this, 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 and this. And AI will create that for you, but you need to give it really, really specific instructions to get really good results from it. And then we want to give it this contextual information. Are there other things that you want to make sure they know outside of the stage that we've already set for them? Give it some constraints. Maybe you want to say, I don't want to focus on any of the negative things. I want you to focus on, give it as much information as possible. If you have come across a fabulous example of someone doing something that you want to imitate, share those examples. If they're public links, you can drop the links in. And then that refinement. Refinement is so important. And I told you guys, my favorite refinement is sound more human, or sometimes I even say, speak like you are speaking to a 10-year-old, right? Take it down a notch. Don't be so flowery. Don't be so over the top. But these bullet points will help you craft a great prompt so that you can get the best response possible.
And it's just like the advancements that we've seen from ChatGPT with the addition of memory, ChatGPT 4.0 now with its ability to process multiple different modes of information quicker, and offer a little bit more context to it. It can kind of read into what you're doing. It's only getting better, folks.
It is.
And Strawberry may come out in a couple of weeks, which is crazy to think about too. So Strawberry is not the fruit, but the latest ChatGPT model. So it's really exciting and it's just evolving by the day. But these themes that Cristy's presenting can be used for every model that's out there. And depending on which one you're paying for or not, will kind of depend on how much more information you need to give it in order to get really quality, prompts back to you.
100%. So when we take all the information, I wanted to give you guys just one slide. If you want to take a picture of this slide, and I want you guys to tell me how many of you are going to take as your, remember my challenge to you, one item that you are going to implement in your business. I am hoping that if you do not have content themes, this is the one item that you are. So if this is the one item you're going to implement, will you guys tell us yes? If it's not, that's fine. I have other ones to share with you, but take a picture of this because this is a good prompt to get content themes. Again, you are a marketing expert. Act as a consultant for give it your company's name, using the information either above, or you don't need to say that if you're using an AI program or a customized GPT. Define 5 content themes. Give me the name, the objective, the tone, and the goal for each, and be as specific as possible. And I love seeing that a lot of you are going to do content themes after this. I really feel like this is the best place for you to start. At BizHack, we recently grew our team, and like this was what I gave to our new social media person to say. These are the content themes, right? This is who we are. This is what we share with people online. It makes it so much easier. And I love the yes in all caps. So I am so happy to see. I really hope that you guys follow up with me. Tell me what content themes you are using for your business now, because this is the game changer. And what you can do with these content themes is use this to put into ChatGPT to give you examples of scripts to write. I wish that we had time to get into all of that, but maybe we'll do another one.
Took a master class all in its own there.
So what we got from that prompt, after I fed ChatGPT all of the information that we had, was demystifying digital marketing and AI for small business, success stories of transformation, building a marketing engine, navigating marketing with limited resources, and leveraging partners with BSOs, which are those business service organizations. And what you can see is that first bad prompt, it gave us like a decent response, but it didn't speak to who we were at BizHack. These content themes really speak to who we are, because I was able to feed it all of the background information it needed about our target audience, who we are, what our goals are, who we serve, and we can really start to get themes that are actually going to be providing value, because again, we're not selling, we are serving, right? And the way that we serve our audience is to provide value to them online.
I love this example, because what you had before, Cristy, like it was super flowery, loaded with marketing jargon. You're looking at it and you're like, oh my gosh, this is really, really cool. And it speaks to me, but it's like, this is ultra targeted for you. So going through those steps, it's going to take you a little bit of time. You're going to have some time investment up front, but what you're going to get, from its results from ChatGPT or Gemini or any other generative AI that you're using is a really solid foundation to build on. And I really wanted to flag, just how important that is for each and every one of you who are watching.
Exactly. And I see someone saying, yeah, we are not selling, we are serving. Is that the sentence? So that's my personal mantra when I'm creating content. I am always thinking, how am I adding value? How am I serving my audience? I do that for my blog. I do that for my students at FAU. I do that for our BizHack community. How are we actually being able to serve them and to assist them, so that we're not trying to sell to them, right? Our hope is that you do buy our courses because we know that we give so much value in it, but we are serving our audiences, and that's what we're trying to do here. So the next thing that it will give you is the objective, the tone, and the goal. And what I love about this is the information that, again, when I go to say, create 10 different ideas that fit for demystifying digital marketing and AI for small business, I can tell ChatGPT or Gemini or any of the platforms I'm using, this is the objective I want you to hit, this is the tone I want, and this is the goal of this. Because we want to provide as much background information as possible so that we can get this perfectly customized and really speaking to our target audience. So what you're going to do with these themes, you're going to share them with your team for consistency. Like I shared, we have a brand new person on the team. I shared it with her and she's like, oh my gosh, I understand so much deeper who BizHack is. And now we're going to have consistency where you won't know when one person is posted versus another, because oftentimes posting on social media can be a collaborative effort and should be a collaborative effort. And then we're going to use this information to create your content calendar. So if you have all of this information, now you can go to ChatGPT and say, write me a 30-day plan. Do 1/5, 1/5, 1/5 out of the 5 content themes I've shared with you, and have it do the work for you. Pick the ones that you love, ask it to write you a script. The process just goes on and on and on, and it makes it so much easier to get started and to be consistently posting, because we all know you guys are overwhelmed, and this is oftentimes like a secondary thought of like, now I get to be a content creator. Like I'm always, anytime there's a new platform, I'm like, yay, right? Because
No,
it's like now I get to be a new content
right.
creator.
If you have, custom GPTs, to your point earlier too, Cristy, you're not reinventing the wheel with a brand new prompt either. You're building different iterations of those custom GPTs to create your content calendar, to create the ad copy or the marketing copy that's going to go with it, to create the blog post, and it already understands what it is that you're doing and what you're looking for. So you don't have to retrain it every single time. That custom GPT is just so powerful to save time and really save a lot of energy for small business owners. It's really, something that is a best practice and everybody should be doing on this call.
100%. And I see one of my students is asking about how do we make things sound natural as possible. And we say no one wants to be sold to anymore, right? The second that we get the hint that something is an ad, we're swiping away, we want no interest. And that's where we have to be our authentic self. Authenticity is one of the most important things that you can be on this platform, on any social media platform. And I say this platform, and we want it to be natural. We want to share the good, the bad, the ugly. We want to take people along on our journey with us, because then they're going to start trusting us, right? We're sharing everything.
Mhm.
It's okay if we take a misstep. If you are not trying something new, then you're never going to fail. And so if you've never failed, it's a big issue for me.
So this has been a really good conversation, kind of from a 15,000-foot level. How do we shape our strategy? And what I'm really kind of been looking forward to with your presentation, Cristy, is like, okay, now we kind of have a really good idea of how we shape those themes. Let's dig a little bit deeper. Let's bring this down to the ground, and really dig into some concepts of how we can integrate everything we just talked about here over the last 30 minutes or so, and utilize different tools to kind of implement some of that strategy.
Of course. So if you are in this space, you will see people all the time want to bash ChatGPT. And I think it's kind of funny. Like once, if you start liking videos in the AI space, you'll start to see all these ones of like, this tool's a million times better than ChatGPT. I personally think ChatGPT does a fabulous job. And so one of the tools that I think that everyone should be using for their content themes is either ChatGPT or Gemini. I saw someone else said that they have a Claude that they like.
Mhm.
There is no perfect, right? There's no perfect one, but we should be picking one and just trying it. I feel like so often we fail in doing new things because we don't start. And so I really encourage you, if you have never signed up for a free account in ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude, like do that today and just start playing with it and seeing, and hopefully using this process to then identify your content themes. Depending on how much time we have, I'm going to log into a couple of platforms that I really like. One of them is called CoSchedule. They have a new section called Hire Mia. It's their name for their AI. I think it's actually kind of adorable that they sort of like tried to get the AI thing into the Mia. And it is an AI powered brand voice and a content scheduler for management of social post. And what I like about this is it will literally say, this is what we think your brand voice is. And BizHack is going to have a brand voice workshop coming up if you don't know your brand voice. But this platform is amazing because here I just had it analyze Happy Family Blog, which is the name of my blog. And it tells me that we're on a mission to help families find everyday moments through easy recipes, family fun, and travel tips. That is 100% who we are. It talks about our tone of voice. It says the tone of voice is cheerful, supportive in its blog post, inviting, engaging in its social media post, and informative yet friendly in its official communication. It literally nailed it, right? That is who our brand is. And then it starts to give common brand phrases: celebrating every day, finding joy in the everyday moment. These are literally the terms that I weave in because that is what I want our brand to feel like. And so this is a free platform. You can create an account and literally just type your URL in, and it's going to start to tell you who your brand voice is. And then within this platform, let me just show you guys. Jordan, do you mind if I take over sharing?
Yeah, please do.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. So again, I try to use the free versions of things as much as possible until I love a platform and then I upgrade. So this is what the free version looks like. And you'll see these lovely little Locks are things that we don't have access to. But what it gives you is free prompts, 25 different prompts that you can use for creating your product descriptions, writing your mission statement, summarizing content. We start to think about all the things that we can do to use AI for. One of the things I love to do is the summarizing content. I'll take a YouTube video that someone said that they need me to watch, and I ask AI to summarize it for me and give me the top points, because it's all about how we're saving time. We can, use any of these different ones for content marketing. If you do not want to go in and try to find prompts, this literally gives you the prompts that you need. You copy and paste them, and it's gonna, here, just summarize this content for me, right? All of this is happening, so you're not having to copy and then go out into ChatGPT. You can do everything in here and not have to worry about loading all of the background information in, because it's gonna start to understand who you are. So this is a brand new program to me in the last 3 months. But this is the thing, the programs are changing, like Jordan said, so rapidly. The advancements are so amazing that we need to be continuing to test out new programs. And this is a fabulous prompt library. You could go out and find these prompts other places, but it's all in this space that you're able to save time and money for.
I think one of those programs
Yeah.
too was Munch, because I used Munch when
Yeah.
it first came out, and I was like, "This is not for me. This is not for me." I haven't gone back to it. So like when we were working on this masterclass, you're like, "Oh man, I got to talk about Munch because it's really freaking cool." I was like, "Okay, maybe it can win me back over," because it has been a long time, and we've seen, just from the advent of where we are now with OpenAI and ChatGPT. Like, remember when ChatGPT 3 came out? Like, it was not very good, but here we are with 4.0, and it's amazing. So
Exactly. And I will, so you led me directly in. So if you do not know what Munch AI is, it is a platform that allows you to take long form content and cut it down into short form content. So a video that you would film for YouTube, the challenge as a content creator is, hopefully you guys all know, every single platform wants you to create content directly for them, right? YouTube wants it to be sideways like this. Instagram wants it to be up and down. And how do we maximize the time? And so what we used to do is like shoot it both ways and waste time. But now what you can do is shoot for YouTube, shoot long content, or what we do at BizHack, we record every time our founder is on a podcast. And then Jose is the expert in this program. He takes that video and uploads it into Munch. And you can literally insert a public link here, or you can upload the video directly. And I'm not going to do it now because I didn't want it to take too long for us. But it will then say, all right, we'll create it for you. And here, let me show you guys an example of what it creates. So what we can do here is it tells us, what are the keywords that people are using in this video? What type of search volume do they have? How many clips actually use that search volume? Is the competition high or low, which simply means with the number of people who are trying to target that keyword? Is it a lot of people or not a lot of people? This is going to help us, because I wish we could go into SEO, and BizHack has an entire course in AI and SEO. SEO, search engine optimization, used to just mean what we are doing to appear on Google. Now we know that people are using TikTok and Instagram and YouTube as a search engine. And so we need to be approaching it that same way when we are creating content for these platforms. And so what we can do is literally, this tells us here, the coherency score. So how well this is taking a long form YouTube video that is sideways and switching it up for TikTok and Facebook. It tells us exactly what times it's doing. And when we click on it, you'll see it even, oh, that's very loud. Sorry, guys. It even writes the captions for us. It allows us to do our subtitles in lots of different ways, so that if this is Alex Ramosi style, if you love this style of captions, it can automatically do it for you. Jose has it all set up in our brand colors for BizHack, so it turns into the purple and gold. All of that can be put in, and now you're taking and being so much more efficient. When I look back to how we used to get videos out of our founder, we used to write a script for him. He would record them. not all founders or business owners have the time to do that. Now we can double the productivity of his time, which is put him in a podcast, get him out in front of other people, and take that same podcast and make tons and tons of short form videos. Now, I do, when Jordan and I were first talking about this, I want to share. When we started using this platform, one like an hour video got us maybe 30 shortcuts. Not all of them are going to be great. Like to Jordan's point, but that's okay because enough of them are going to be good that you can go back and edit them. So if you see and you're like, oh, these first two are not good, I encourage you to keep going because some of them are going to be good. These platforms are just going to get better and better and better. And it is all about how can we save time? So how can we take information like this? And technically you could do this on topics that are not your own. I know later we're going to have an attorney talk about AI and how that works with using other people's content. But technically, you could use another public YouTube video that is in your space to create content, or you could do it like this hack is doing it, where we're using videos of generally at podcast and cutting them down. This is such a huge time saver, and I can't recommend it enough. Is anyone using Munch or heard of Munch?
Gonna have to start using it. It looks a lot more refined from the first time that I pulled it
Oh
up.
yeah.
And just like I love that the clips that it's created for you, it's optimizing it for one platform or another platform. It's giving you the caption, it's giving you the on-screen captions. Like it's got a lot better, like a lot better.
Right. And they do. And that's so, here we can enter in our brand information in this brand section. We can upload our logo if you always want your logo to be on. You can put your brand colors in. This is all about how do we work smarter, not harder, right? So, how are we able to take a long form video that we would have never posted to TikTok or Instagram and be able to use it? And we're finding that the videos that perform best for our audience are these interview style because right, the 2-second clips is like, it's back and forth and it's keeping people's attention, and we know that people's attention disappears very quickly, and so we want to grab those best moments.
And just as best practice too, if you have long form video, you should be asking yourself the question, if you're not already, how many different ways can I use this? How many different pieces of content can I produce? Because every piece of content that you do produce as a business owner and load up into your content calendar, or kind of check that box, if you will, you're going all the way back to the beginning of the presentation. It's consistency. You're posting, and in order to post, you're going to get that engagement information that you're looking for to go back and refine your strategy. So as much content as you can get, and I can tell you, if you do an hour and a half long masterclass like this, you're going to get quite a bit. So you should be repurposing it as much as you can on as many channels as you can, without, overdoing it, so to speak. But it's important to do so. And this is a great tool to do that.
Well, and I say, you say without overdoing it, like we have to think that sometimes only 10% of our audience sees what we're posting. So to us, sometimes it feels like we're overdoing it. But truthfully, you could post a similar topic multiple days and not everyone's going to see it. I see someone put in CapCut. I love, love, love CapCut, but CapCut does not automatically cut these items down. What I love about this is called Munch AI. And there's a free version that allows you just to do a couple of videos, but a good place just to play with it. And then at this hack, we pay for, I think the first level of it. And it automatically clips it for you so that you just have to go. What I like to do is I still like to add some sort of hook at the top of the screen because it's not adding those hooks, those visual hooks and written hooks are so important because we're trying to stop people scroll, but it is unbelievable how it just slices and dices it for you. So the next software that I would love to share with you guys is, sorry, Jordan knows that I'm on my daughter's computer, so it's joyful. I'm like, here we go. Alrighty. Let me find. I'm gonna put you guys down. All right. It doesn't want to share again, but that's okay. We're gonna figure it out together.
I can take screen share from you. Oh, looks like you're back. There
All
you
right.
go.
Do you see Canva now?
You do.
Okay, fabulous. All right, so Canva, and again, how many of you are using Canva? Canva to me is, if you're one of my students, you know I like sing its praises everywhere I go. Canva is an absolutely incredible design tool. What I want to talk about though today is their outside apps that are integrated in. When you log into Canva, if you go here under apps, it's going to bring you to this section. Select on the AI powered apps. What I like to do with the AI powered apps is this Dolly, and then you can use it in an existing design or use it in a brand new design. Just going to open one up for us. Nice that it needs to be larger. Sorry, guys. All right,
Shameless
let's do it
plug. We're going
here.
to have a whole masterclass on Canva and AI coming up in 4 weeks. So make sure you come to that class if you like what you're seeing here, an early taste from what Cristy's showing us.
Yeah. So what you can do here is literally pouring coffee into a coffee cup, and you can say either surprise me, or you could do, so now it's saying the surprise is going to be the landscape desert. Generate this. And again, when you talk, Jordan, about how AI is changing, for me, the photo and the video apps are what are changing the fastest. It used to be that what was created out of AI was really very obvious that it was AI, especially when we look at people's hands. But
Mhm.
what we are creating now, so this is the landscape of a desert with a giant sandworm emerging, right? So anything that you need creative on for your business, you can use AI to create that for you. If you don't like, as I told you guys, oftentimes we're not loving what we're first seeing. You literally just hit generate again, and it can, from sand, let's call it from pink sand, right? I'm going to tell it what I wanted it to be different, and then I'm going to be able to generate that again, because it's not going to be perfect the first time. So we can keep using Canva to create better and better images for us.
So what's cool about Canva too is, it is a freemium product. It does have some features. Dolly, I think you get up to 3 prompts per week, per month, maybe.
Yeah,
In
it's got
version,
22 credits, right? Yeah, it looks like it's a
you're,
credits
but
thing.
you're
So
on Canva Pro, right?
oh, good point. Yes, I do have Canva Pro.
So
Yes.
Canva Pro, and it's like that with a lot of the AI integrations with it. It gives you more than enough to do it, right? But if you're on the free version, either A, you don't get access, or B, it's extremely limited, where you get a small taste of it, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to pay for it now because it's so cool. Like I've got to do more. So it's really
Mhm.
kind of a nice teaser, but I love that integration.
It's so nice. And then I know we're running out of time, but I just want to show a couple other ones. If you are writing SEO blog posts, this Rank IO or IQ is amazing. It literally, so Discovery Cove, if you've not been there, it's in Orlando. It's an all-inclusive day resort. It's our family's like favorite place to go. They're one of our clients. You type in the keyword that you're working on, it will tell you how good does your content have to be. In this case, it needs to be an A++, which means that you're going to integrate as many keywords as possible. It tells you how many words you need to write. It tells you what the competition is and how long they expect it will take you to rank in the Google search. This one's very fast. And then it will give you an option for all of the keywords. And these are oftentimes keywords that I personally would not have found myself. And you can go and say, okay, tropical fish, I want that to be my theme. I want the aviary to be a theme as well. And then you can build this content optimizer is going to tell you what grade you have, what words you have actually used, to search the keywords that you haven't used yet so that you can integrate them in and you can optimize your content before you go and hit publish on any blog post. So this product is one that I pay for, but it is unbelievable if you are writing blog content.
So something like this, Christy, built on top of an existing LLM, like a ChatGPT.
I never asked that question, but it must be. But I don't know the answer of the technology part. For me, I'm like, what is the output and how does it work for me, opposed to the back end of how it
Right.
how it actually functions. But I know I've been using this one for about 6 months, and it has really, really helped. What I do is I take the keywords I want to use, I write it in ChatGPT, then I bring it back in here, and then I rework it. And then everyone I think should be using Grammarly. After I do that process, I bring it into Grammarly. Grammarly has the ability to do a plagiarism check for you, as well as gives you generative AI options. So it can help you rewrite anything that you want. And I think that this is really, really important as we're trying to make sure that we are using AI, but we are making sure that we are, citing the proper people who originally did the research, or making sure that we're not plagiarizing.
I love Grammarly.
I
I'm a
do
math
too.
guy. I'm a science guy. I'm not an English major anywhere close to it. It saves my bacon every single day.
It really, right? It does, and it tells you, recommendations of other words to use, what your overall scores are. So these are, there are literally millions of AI software, but these are my favorites. These are the ones that I am using every single week in my business that I would really recommend you explore.
What's funny is, Grammarly, it's one of those programs that you don't think of it as AI until you see a presentation like yours, Cristy, and it's like, no, if you've been using Grammarly kind of before the ChatGPT boom, that is AI. And a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
things that we've been using, have been some sort of extremely watered down, not super smart version of AI that's only going to get better here as we continue on.
100%. And it's rank IQ, Patricia, you're asking. And then Drew, I hope that Canva has a student discount program. I will have to look into that.
I know they've got an educator discount program.
Mm,
So I wonder if that does kind of trickle into being a student too.
yeah, hopefully it does. But I wanted to just say thank you to all of you for being here. Reels are, to me, one of the fastest way to be growing your Instagram account. The concepts of Reels connect directly into YouTube Shorts and to TikTok. And so this is my guide, or the ultimate guide of creating Reels. It takes you through step by step, absolutely everything that you need to know. I've got a QR code here. We'll also put the URL in the chat, but this guide will pull you up to a website, enter your name and email, and then I will email you a copy of this. But I cannot thank Reels enough for the ability to reach people who are not following you. If you are looking to grow your audience, you need to be able to understand short form content. Short form content is going to allow you to reach a whole new audience that would have never found you otherwise. And we need to lean into what these platforms are telling us. And Instagram has literally said to us, thanks to TikTok, I felt the TikTokification of all of these platforms. With TikTok taking off so much, YouTube is like, we got you, YouTube Shorts, right? And Instagram is like, we got you, Reels, right? So doubling down on short form content is such an important thing to be doing for your business. And so I'm super excited to share this with you guys. So thank you for coming.
Awesome. Very much appreciate that, Christy. And we do have 10 minutes left, so we're going to get to some of the Q&A also. So don't be fooled when you see the big purple slide here that says wrap up. But I do, for those of you who are going to hang on for the Q&A, we'll wrap up here at the top of the hour. If you've got to run, that's okay too. Before you jump off, though, please, please, please answer this poll. This is the most important poll that we launch for the entire master classes. Number one, it tells us if we're doing a good job or not. And that helps us kind of bake in some of the information that we got from you earlier as to how we can improve. And if you were not feeling the master class, I'm going to be emailing you to say, hey, how can we improve? So be on the lookout for that. But Cristy, from what I'm seeing right now, people are loving the content today. So I'm super excited about that. So with that, let's move over to the Q&A. So I'm going to do a stop screen share and open up the Q&A box because I think we've got like a dozen or so questions in here. So we'll start from the beginning. The contact info for requesting an intern next summer.
Oh yeah, if any businesses here are looking for interns, you can drop them, or you can reach out to me separately. I'd be happy to connect you with FAU's program. We have an absolutely incredible program to put interns together, and my students are fabulous, if I do say so myself.
This is a good question here. What if you started using ChatGPT? Maybe you fed it a little bit of info about your business, but you didn't kind of go into the in-depth nuggets that you showed us earlier, Cristy. What would you recommend? Do you create a new GPT? Do you go back to the existing one? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always learning. So today is a new day, and start
Mhm.
today and retrain it. And that's where I think creating these custom GPT models is what we should be doing as business owners so that we have all of that data there. And as things change and get updated, we know that it is actually has the information that we fed it.
Do you have, I kind of think you covered this a little bit during the master class. So this may have come in before you talked about it, but just the
Okay.
list of prompts to train ChatGPT.
Yeah. I feel like we kind of went, I think this is what they're
Was that
looking
the
for,
two
but I'm not
slide
100%
element?
sure. Yeah, so those
Okay.
are all of the pieces that I would recommend training and saying, this is all the information about my company. Save this information for in the future when I ask you about BizHack Academy, that you will pull up that information. So we'll be sending out a link to the YouTube channel, and so you guys can grab those if you didn't already grab them off of the channel. But there's tons and tons of background information that I recommend making sure you set the stage for.
I think this is a really compelling question. Once you establish the background info for a specific client, what is the best practice for usage of various tasks? Do you keep this in one channel? For example, you establish the background info and then are creating website copy, social post, blog. So I think what Nick is asking is, do we do this all in one GPT or do we create multiple to kind of handle this for us?
Personally, I do it all on the same GPT, but I think that with this, there could be pros and cons to both ways. For me, I always go the path of least resistance. Like, how does your brain work? I was in another training with FAU Tech Runway, and somebody said, "Oh yeah, no, I only ask the same questions in the same sections of ChatGPT." And I thought that's so fascinating. Like, my brain doesn't work that way. So I say, do whatever is going to allow you to actually use these tools, because if it's going to stop you, like that, this idea would stop me, because I'd be like, oh, now I've got to find that. It wouldn't work for me, but if it would work for you, then 100% do it. Find out whatever is going to be the way that allows you to get in and use these tools.
We write differently, with website or LinkedIn. So if you want to get kind of into the weeds with that, fine. But to Christy's point, over time, it's going to understand if you want a LinkedIn post, this is what, the output that
You're
you're
looking
looking
for.
for versus an email or a blog or a Facebook post or copy for an Instagram reel. Speaking of social media, we have another question, Cristy. When you create a social media advertisement on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, do you try to make it as natural as possible, staying away from it feeling like an ad? What's best practice there?
100% natural as possible, right? Like, I just did a video that I'm going to post soon, talking about, like, literally you want to pretend like you're on FaceTime with someone. Record like you are talking to that target audience, like you're having a one-on-one with them, and speak to them, speak to their pain points, speak to how this is going to be the solution for them, but without selling it. Like, you need to back up, right? What's the conversation you would have with your best friend? And sometimes you may need to just practice that with your best friend. Call him or her, call your mom, call your dad. Hey, I want to practice with you. Do FaceTime. Especially this next generation, I think, is going to be so much better at creating content than we are, because they're always on camera. They're so comfortable with it. You've got to get super, super comfortable and pretend like you're speaking to one person.
Some of the best ads that I've seen are like their Instagram reels or their pictures, and I'll look at them and I don't immediately realize it's an ad because it feels so natural. And then I ask
Mm-hmm.
myself, why the heck did I follow this account? And then I'm like, oh, it says ad right there. I didn't follow this account. But if you can find yourself in that bucket, like that's right where you want to be.
100%. And including someone else in it also helps with that, right? If you're getting someone's natural reaction to a product or a thing, or, that seems to work really well as well, because it doesn't feel so scripted.
Right. Let me see what else we have here in the chat box. Does the guide include information for LinkedIn as well?
It does not, but I mean, BizHack has an amazing course on LinkedIn. If you reach out to me, I also have some presentations on LinkedIn from a previous BizHack um, trainer who is amazing. I use all of her stuff in my course at FAU, and so I'd be happy to share any recommendations for optimizing your LinkedIn profile.
I feel like anytime this question is more of a statement surrounding Canva, says I love Canva, but at Zimmerman, our mentors told us not to use it because they didn't like it, um, which I thought was interesting, but didn't really understand. And I'm kind of in Drew's camp here with this comment because I do think that Canva at times can get a little bit of a bad rap because there's a lot going on in there, and it's like where the heck do you start? But that's where the Magic Studio comes into play. You just tell it exactly what you want to do, and it kind of spits out an example of it. You can take a knucklehead like me who can't digital media to save his life, and create some pretty robust stuff for your clients.
And Zimmerman is an unbelievable agency. I know Drew was lucky enough to have an internship there, but they have an entire creative department. Most of us do not have an entire creative department. And Jordan Zimmerman came to speak at FAU the other day, and he was like, yeah, when someone asks for my help, I'm like, sure, but you can't afford me. And that's the truth. Like most of us who are on the small business side would not have the budget to hire a Zimmerman style group who is going to be able to produce that. And so that is where Canva comes in. It's the sweet spot for the small business owners, for those of us who have a smaller budget, who need to be able to make things happen. And that may be why they're saying it's not perfect, because for them and the content that they're producing, when they have that entire studio and that unbelievable building, they don't need it.
Right. I mean, they're
Their
playing in
skills
the
are above
Adobe
mark.
suite. They've got people who are trained to do this. We don't, small business owners and people who work for a small business, like myself, we just don't have those resources. And Canva can be a great shortcut that is allowing you to compete with those businesses with professional looking content. So a couple more questions, Cristy, because we're almost at the top of the hour. And this one kind of ties back into a question that was asked earlier. Can the business plan be placed into ChatGPT? That's part one. And part two, what types of sensitive versus not sensitive content should we be sharing with ChatGPT?
A great question that I am not the expert on answering. I mean, I think that a lot of that has to do with what are your policies? What is your feelings on what you're willing? For me personally, I'm happy. My husband's always like, why do you share so much with people? I'm happy to share absolutely everything I've ever done because it comes down to the implementation. And for me, like I'll give ChatGPT everything I do and all my secret sauce because a majority of people fail at the implementation. So that's my personal feeling, but you really have to sort of dig deep to decide, like you are sharing it with a learning model that may use it for other people, and where do you sit with that?
Right. Totally agree. Awesome. So here's the poll that I mentioned earlier. If you enjoyed the masterclass, please let us know. And before you jump off, what was your aha? What was the moment that Cristy, during her presentation today, said that one element where the light bulb went off in your head and you said, oh my gosh. For me, it was definitely the custom GPTs because, you can shortcut your way through, having to reprompt or use the same prompt within ChatGPT if you create a custom GPT that understands what your business is, how it works, and how it operates. And that's going to save you a lot of time on the front end and on the back end. Earlier, somebody asked, how do I register for the upcoming Canva masterclass? You can go to bizhack.com/MC and register. But if you have registered for this masterclass, you're already signed up for the rest. So you will get an invitation for that masterclass in 4 weeks. In 2 weeks, we're going to continue our series with the incorporating AI into a sustainable business model masterclass. Very excited for that, and you should be as well. But before we sign off and wrap up here, a very special thank you to our guest, Cristy Stewart-Harfmann, for joining us today. And thank you all for being here as part of season 12 of BizHack's Masterclass series. I hope to see you all again coming up in 2 weeks.